Hello everyone, MetaPlus Meditation here, Wednesday, November the 9th, the feast of the dedication of the Lateran Basilica. Now this is one of the oldest, this is actually the Pope's church. It's the Lateran, yes. And this is one of the oldest buildings in Christendom, in the Christian Catholic world. So it's a real testament, to the apostolic roots of the papacy, as well as good architecture. Let me tell you, this building is like over 1,000 years old and is still standing. Now, obviously it's been updated and strengthened, but still amazing architecture, just from a physical point of view, Okay, so the first reading is taken from Ezekiel the prophet. Then the angel of the Lord brought me back to the entrance of the temple. There, water was flowing from below the threshold of the temple toward the east. Remember, you pay attention to the east. This happens a couple of times in this reading, and it's not happenstance. For the temple faced east. Again, not happenstance. And the water was flowing down from below the right side of the threshold of the temple, south of the altar. Then he brought me out by way of the north gate and led me around on the outside to the outer gate that faces toward east. And the water was coming out on the right side. So what's going on here? I mean, there's a lot that I would have to do actually a bit of research to kind of really unpack. But essentially, the temple, and remember the relationship here is with the dedication of the Lateran Basilica, that the temple represents, for the Jewish people, it was a microcosm of the universe. It really was a microcosm of the universe. And it faced east, always east. And the significance of that is because the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. So the Son of Man, Jesus will use this to indicate that he will be coming from the east. He will return from the east and not from the west. Again, it's an image for us, to kind of, it helps us. We need these concepts here in this world. East and not west, not north, not south, but east, from the rising of the sun, so the Son of Man will rise and come to his people. So the water flows to the east. Now this will kind of is a type and foreshadow the fact that when Jesus is on the cross, his heart will be pierced and blood and water will flow from his side, because his body is the new temple of the living God. He is the living God. So when his body is pierced, blood and water flow, and that's life-giving water. So later on in this reading, and I'm not going to read it out here, is that the waters flowing from the temple refresh and produce, new life in trees and so on, just as from the life-giving blood and water sacraments that flow from the side of Christ, the heart of Christ, new life, sacramental life, to regenerate the human soul flows from his side. And that's why actually, whether the churches literally faced east or not, whether it's positionally or theologically, the whole point of the priest facing east, it relates back to Ezekiel and the position of the temple, the sun rising in the east. So and the priest is also, of course, in the old rite, the priest is leading people up Mount Zion to the temple of the living God. That's why the priest was facing with the people. I refuse to say had his back to the people, because he never had his back to the people any more than the people behind me say could I have my back to them, where he was facing with us and leading us up Mount Zion. But we get these cock and bull ideas about the priest having his back to us. No, it's actually this rich symbolism of the priest leading us up the mountain to the east, where Jesus will come to take us. Okay, much more could be said, but I'll leave it at that. Over to the Gospel of John. This is when Jesus cleanses the temple. I'll just read a short verse here. Making a whip of cords, he drove them all out of the temple and basically told them to stop turning his Father's house into a marketplace. Again, the temple is a symbol of is a macrocosm of the universe, and it's supposed to be holy, sacred ground. It symbolizes our body, which is the true temple. When we're in the state of grace, our bodies are temples of the living God. And we should drive out all the temple buyers, all the impure things, all the money changers, all the inordinate attachments we have, everything that keeps us from worship, everything that keeps us from a unity of life out. It's got to go, because it'll ruin us. it'll keep us from God. We need to let Jesus come in and banish all these things from our life. So remember, you are the temple. Jesus didn't die for a set of bricks. He died for you, and he died for me. He dies for real people. But the temple is an important structure because it's our physical house of worship. However, always remember that what's most important is me, you and me. That's who he died for. God bless you.